So, Masters weekend, we got Rod Woodward, Wales' greatest ever comedian. I say ever because Colin Price is probably listening to this.
I thought for a second you were going to say golfer then.
I would never say that, would I? How would it be a Masters weekend? We all love the Masters. We all play a bit of golf, Rod. What's your tip? Who's your tip?
My tip is I can't look any further than Scotty Scheffler, to be honest. Yeah, just
Same.
I love that foot action. So orthodox, isn't it? I'm trying to copy that.
Doing
You're doing a
pirouettes
good job,
everywhere.
mate.
But all jokes aside, is Scotty Scheffler's foot action going to open up, the door for, close the door for a lot of PGA coaches, but open the door for all sorts of untoward and different techniques?
Yeah, I think it probably will. But I mean, the key thing about him is when he gets to impact, you freeze frame him and he looks perfect. Everything is spot on, isn't it? And, it's all a bit after the Lord Mayor's showing it, the foot action, but it just works for him. And I suppose if he didn't do it, he'd do himself a damage.
Yeah, I think it makes the average golfer a little bit more confident when they're hacking away.
They wish they could strike it like that.
Well, if you saw him on the range, you think he's shit.
What's he doing with his foot? I mean, technique-wise, Mike, you're the expert, yeah?
Well, to me, I know from I follow the US golf a lot, and there's been quite a shift over the last 10 years in the technical terms with the more data they have, ground force and everything. So a lot of the colleges in America stopped going orthodox, trying to make the perfect technical positions. They look at these young guys when they're 13, 14 years old. Have they got talent? Can they hit the ball? Yeah. Right. How can they hit it harder? And they've based their education then, their golf education, about impact. These are the positions that work. How do you do it? How can you do it? And if they're showing an aptitude towards it, they just go with that. And that's what's happened. Scheffler's part of that process. Right, this is what you can do to do it. So just do it, and let's make it better. And if it's more natural, physically, they get more longevity out of it. Because, like you said, it looks unorthodox, but I don't think he can hurt himself doing it because everything's going in a normal, natural position.
You look at the position he gets himself in, how flashy he is.
You're getting a lot more athletes playing golf now that would have been basketball players, NFL players. They're now going to golf because they can make a lot of money. They can play for 30 years.
Well, it's made me think. I've spent countless hours, like all of us, watching these YouTube videos trying to pick up golf tips when really I should have been watching Gene Kelly. Because so that's what I'm doing now. I got a brolly, I'm out there, and it's just...
He's pretty good in the rain as well.
He's great in the rain.
Thank you.
Right, top 10 tip, Rod? Top 10? So if you think Scotty's going to win it.
The only one I haven't bet is... Ludwig Aberg, so I reckon he's going to win it now. I realised he was missing on my. And he's going to. So he's bound to win it now. But I think, I think Hideki's playing so well. You can't look past him. And then, Cameron Smith, I fancy.
Good putter.
Yeah. Or the hillbilly, as my wife calls him. The hillbilly's playing.
The mullet's gone now. It's gone.
Has it gone?
Yeah, he shaved it off last week.
That's what lived us few.
He's these massive years now.
He won't be able to play now. He'll be like Samson.
He will. Yeah.
I think Justin Thomas might surprise a few people.
Do you think so? Yeah.
Because he's been really struggling and he's just started to hit a bit of form. And he's never had a great, I think fourth is his best finish at the Masters. Just got one of those feelings I think he could pull something out of the bag this week.
Xander, I like him for a top
but
10.
always he's a top tenner.
He hasn't quite got the minerals to kind of get over the line.
Ooh, imagine him listening to this podcast.
He hasn't though. He hasn't.
I think Sergio used to listen to this podcast. And look what it did for him.
Exactly. Yeah. He stopped listening in 2017, obviously, didn't he?
But it is. I mean, people say it's wide open. You look at all the stats. You know me, I'm a stats man. And,
you are. Biggest analyst in the business.
Biggest analyst you'll ever. How many times? If I had a tenner for every time he said that,
I love it. I tell you what, I wish you were on every gig because that gets such a laugh, that, honestly.
It does, doesn't it?
And I'm saying it now anyway, whether you're there or not.
I'm feeling it.
See, I know that Sean Holly, the analyst, and they go,
I'm an analyst. It's on my LinkedIn profile. I'm an analyst. But no, when you do drill down to the stats, then there's some real hardcore ones that, for example, Scotty Scheffler's one at the moment. He's 3.2 over shots compared to Rory. I think he's half the way, 1.6, and he needs something like a 1.7 to be 9 of the last 10 winners going into it.
I can't
form.
see anyone beating Scotty Scheffler. I just can't. He's just too good a ball striker. He's going to give himself so many putts for birdies and eagles. He doesn't even have to put well. Just put average.
Pressure? There's pressure.
No, he's cool as a cucumber, that guy.
You've got to putt well
crumble
to win
once.
Augusta. You have to putt well
just
to
those 3
win
putt, isn't it?
Augusta.
Yeah.
Yeah, the undulations, I guess. Have you been there? Have you seen?
I've never been there, no, unfortunately.
It's the two things that people talk about are the hills there, aren't they? And the fact that you just can't see, even on telly, where the greens look like the most difficult greens you've ever seen.
Even on the par 3 challenge this year.
Oh.
It's like glass, aren't they?
Yeah.
It's slopey, fast, difficult, massive pressure.
A bit like the Grove in Port
Yeah, a bit like the back 9 at the Grove.
You played there recently, first game back?
I
Rod,
did,
was it?
first game back, and I was encouraged, to be honest. I got around. I've had this this sort of, what they call it, a nerve block. They basically go in and kill the nerve all down the right side of the, on L3 and L4, and I just feel like Steve Austin now. I just honestly, I was doing things that you wouldn't believe, like parring them and stuff.
Hitting the greens and stuff like that. But everywhere's wet at the moment. It's difficult, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
We're just hanging out for a little bit of good weather. But wedges, obviously, you're a previous captain, twice captain. I'm a previous captain.
This is true.
Wedges are the Welsh Entertainers Do-Gooders Golfing Enjoyment Society. Have I got that right?
They took them a long time to
Wow.
work that out. They were just, looking for words they could throw in,
before that one was coming.
I think the guy who worked it out was dyslexic, to be honest. But
it says something when between Max Boyce, Owen Money, Colin Price, and a few others.
that's my ring doorbell keeps going off.
Is it?
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
He's
It goes off all the
seeing the
time.
missus again, isn't he?
I swear it did go off during my prostate examination. It did happen. And I use that as a routine, but I mean, it's so embarrassing. And I'm like, the guy's plugged into me and he's going like, do you want to get that? I'm going, no, it's all right, thanks. He's like, if there's someone at the front door, I said, it's a fellow at the back door. Right, I will turn it
It's
off.
funny how it always goes off when you're out, isn't it? And the missus is at home.
Yeah, that's true, that. I've noticed something developing. Yeah. I've narrowed it down because you're here now. So
It's not me. It's not me. The analyst is...
the English, yeah. Oh, she wouldn't go for that, I'm sure.
Oh, no. Maybe a doctor did the prostate. Anyway, where were we? Wedges. Talking of wedges.
Yes. From the sublime to the ridiculous. It's the wedges. It's a good old tradition. We basically, meet up fortnightly through the season and try and raise a few quid for various charities around Wales. And at the same time, we get to have a laugh and we get to play all these nice courses, which is great.
Yeah, we got some good ones this year. Rosa Monmouth, Ross, back to Ross on Way.
Nice.
That's lovely. Where else? Where else we playing? Oh, we've got Machenis first one next week coming up, which will be good. If it's not raining, because it's wet down there. It's carry only at the moment. So a lot of our entertainers are getting a little bit older, should we say.
My game's all about the carry, so it's...
Hey, that injection has done you a world of good,
I've never even heard that before. Thinking off the top of my head now, this has never happened.
So, Rod, you support us, you work with us, you're an associate Great Days Golf. We've got Rich now, Great Days Golf Travel. Fancy any trips with us?
I do, absolutely. I've heard about these trips. They're the stuff of legend, aren't they? The last one was in La Manga.
La Manga.
Yeah.
That was like a stag do, basically.
Was
for
it?
5 nights. Yeah, I've been on easier stag do's than La Manga.
Really?
I had more pints than points, so that was the issue. Too many pints.
Yeah.
Not enough good golf.
Where do you fancy playing? You've got a place in Spain, so you're out in Spain a lot. Is there anywhere you fancy going on your travels?
Yeah, I mean, I can remember once I did a corporate event in Les Bordes in France, and it was for the PGA, and they were supposed to be taking all their representatives over to Augusta, and for whatever reason, it was not going to happen. And they figured that the next best place to go was this place, Les Bordes, which is, it was basically a forest that was owned by Baron von Bick of Bick Pen fame. And he cut out this golf course as a bit of a folly, and by all accounts, it's a bit special. Wow. So I could see these people going to play it, but didn't have any clubs with me. And I always thought one day I'll go back and play that. Northern France. It's about an hour and a half from. I can see there's
It's a big
plan
special. I
hatch.
think you missed it.
Absolutely, yeah. It's got to be done, but have a look at it.
Really?
Yeah, lay board. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Anywhere else you would recommend in Europe? You've been Portugal. Been to Portugal?
I have been to Portugal. I'd never been, and then like buses, these gigs. 2 of them came along at the same time. Within 2 months last year. So I went out there twice, and actually had 3 days golfing out there, which was fabulous. So if that's on the agenda, I'd sign up for a bit of that.
We'll be expanding.
I don't think my wife's going to be watching this. No, I'll get a pass. Yeah, so all of those places, and then the places that we see on the Ryder Cup. Italy that looks fantastic. Watching the Ryder Cup there, it just looked. It took me by surprise a bit. I didn't expect it to be such a golfing mecca.
It's wonderful. I played October in Turin at an event, and it was incredible.
Wow.
The food, the courses, and they were all quite close together, but really just incredible. It's a good golf club when you turn up and there's 20 BMW i5s electric, all plugged in, staff cars. And I'm going, oh my God, where are they playing this tournament? Like, what is this?
That's amazing.
I looked at the green fees and they were like €400. And it was like the Grove. Just dead, nothing, to say out there, but around Turin, around Rome, like for the travel for us now.
That's the amazing thing, though, isn't it? About the Ryder Cup. I mean, I would never really think of Italy as a golfing destination, and then that's kind of put it on the map now. People are starting to think of, maybe what about Italy? Because I said the food, the culture.
It's a great place to play golf.
We were looking at it potentially for Six Nations.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Italy, Wales, you go and play Marcus Simone.
Yeah.
Go and watch Italy, Wales rugby. Maybe play another course on the Sunday, come home, something like that. It'd be good package, wouldn't it?
Well, everybody loves that fixture, in the Six Nations now, don't they? And the way, obviously, Italy have grown into the Six Nations, but that is the one that everyone seems to enjoy the most.
Yeah.
The Rome trip.
Yeah, and it's become very much a couples trip as well. Obviously, because you've got the romance of Italy, Rome, you can build other things around the rugby.
Sure.
Maybe the lads' trip to Scotland, the lads' trip to Ireland, those sort of things are still in place.
Yeah.
I think we've all done them, but Italy, does lend itself to more couples, groups, and that's why perhaps we're looking at it from a golf point of view, is that if you've got golfers, it's a long couple of days going on the beer.
Yeah.
The golf just breaks up, slows you down a bit, doesn't it?
Yeah. The other thing, a lot of my mates now go to Spain or Portugal on the weekend of a Six Nations, Rod, on the razzle dazzle for weather.
Yeah.
Because the weather's been so bad. They'll go
Yeah.
and watch the game in Spain. But bear in mind the game's in Rome or Paris. But they do that. So why not tie some golf in?
Yeah.
I
makes
think
sense.
That's what we got to look at. What about further afield? If there's an event that you haven't been to, you'd like to go to, what would that be?
Well, many years ago, my introduction to golf came about because of a guy called Jerry Stevens, who used to be an entertainer back in the 70s and early 80s, and he was in a double act with Lenny Bennett, and he was a big noise in the Variety Club, and they had a classic every year in a different place, some far-flung golf club. And they did one in Mauritius. So they got me out there to do the cabaret. And he said, if you come, you've obviously got to have a game of golf. I said, I don't play golf. I've had a knock with the family and stuff on the weekends. But he said, no, this is too good an opportunity to miss. He said, fabulous courses. So I went and got a crash course of lessons. And I can remember being on the plane and I had a book, How to Break 21. What was it? How to Break 100, in 21 days. 21, that would have been something, wouldn't it? Yeah. And, but one of the guys who was one of the organisers of the event was sat next to me, and he didn't introduce himself. But of course, he put it out there, and he said, this dickhead was trying to learn golf on a plane, and here he is. And I can remember I was shaking like a shitting dog on the first tee. It was unbelievable. And I was introduced to the guy I was playing with, who'd been former captain of Wentworth, and somebody else who played in Barbados, and somebody who was Bill Gates, his PA. She played off 9. And then, you get introduced to the tee and all those little doubts start creeping in, and you're thinking things that, like, am I left or right-handed here? And all that.
Funny thing, that first tee, isn't it?
Oh, it's a great leveler. And but I enjoyed it. I got through it, and I thought it can't get any more difficult than this. And it was a baptism by fire. But the following day, they all went to a place called Touche Rock, which is basically a golf course on an island. There's nothing else on there. So you get a boat out and they were all coming back from there. I bottled that one completely because it was like 200-yard carries. I still couldn't make them now, So I've always had that in my head. I'd love to go back and play that course I missed.
Great.
And it's apparently it's in one of the top 50
Well, let's
in the
do
world.
it, mate.
Let's
Sounds
do it.
incredible.
Get it done.
Get on to it, Rich. Mauritius. Yeah,
Here we come.
And talking about those, you're a long way down the line now, Rod, from that. A lot more golf. But we get to play in those sort of celeb arms and tournaments, get invited. We're very lucky. But that first tee, it's almost like, it's bad enough playing with your mates, for a fiver or in the wedges. You're on that first tee and everybody gets a little bit of those nerves. Like you play in big comps. But in these celeb arms, sometimes there's a lot of people watching, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's hundreds, sometimes thousands of people watching. And do you know what? I can talk on the telly, I can talk to people. I have no problem. But that's the one thing I think that gets you. It is pretty nerve-wracking, isn't it?
There's an event called the British Par 3, which they play at Nailcoat Hall.
Yeah.
You've probably played in it. And I played that one year just on the Pro-Am Day. And they had loads of celebs there, Alex Ferguson, Peter Schmeichel, and people like that. Tony Jacklin is one of the patrons. And so the Sky had a presence there. And they had the gantry set up and people, following people. And on the first tee then, this guy, I'll never forget it, and he teed off just before us. And he shanked this ball like I've never seen before. And it went up into the gantry, and it's rattling round in the gantry. And the cameraman's filming the ball like that. And this guy, he's like, you can see he's visibly shaking. And he thinks, thank God I've got that over with. And off he goes, to follow his ball. And then a bloke in the crowd, it was like that scene from Happy Gilmore. He said, this guy's great, let's follow him. So they followed him round the whole thing, and he just had the worst 4 hours of his life, but... But the best thing was it took the attention off us. But this guy is just
People love watching shit golf, don't they?
Yeah, they do. There's a fascination,
We can all relate to it, can't
Yeah, absolutely. That's the thing about golf, isn't it? You can relate to it. And I got to be honest, I watched, what was it last week? In Texas, was it last week?
Yeah.
Toledo,
The Valero.
The Valeros, yeah. And you put me onto this. You can watch the featured groups. You can watch certain groups. It's amazing how often they miss a fairway.
Oh, yeah.
It really is. And miss screens on par threes. And it gives you, obviously they're brilliant and the levels are different, but it does give you a little bit of confidence to say, well, it's not just me missing the fairway,
You've hit like a wedge of 15 foot, you're going, oh, fuck's sake.
Well, I've been saying that to him. Yeah. Oh, I didn't
Standards are ridiculous.
didn't quite get that one. I was watching the par 3 challenge,
Yeah.
and I was thinking, like Brooks Koepka, he was 20 feet from the pin, from 80 yards. I was thinking, that's Brooks Koepka. He's got five majors, Maybe some of my shots aren't that bad,
Have you found, the pair of you, I don't know what handicap you are, Rich.
Scabby 6, I like to say.
Oh, okay. So another decent golfer. The better you get, does it get harder, when you're on the first tee?
Oh, no.
Because of the expectation?
SQ, Scott Quinnell, gave me the best advice I've had for first teamers, and that was the Woburn last year. First major they'd ever been in disabled golf. Brendan Lawler, a friend of mine from Ireland, won it. And I was really worried. I was getting nervous about it weeks before. As soon as I was confirmed in the field, I'm thinking, Christ, this is a major. This is massive. I'm going to get nervous here, a tree line course. And so I rang Scott, and I said, how did you manage those nerves? And Sean would know this from his career in rugby. How do you manage those nerves in the big, big games and the big, big moments? And he said, look, all I can say to you, Mike, go out there and be a show-off. Right. Just tell yourself, I'm going to show these people how good I can hit a golf ball. Get your chest out, feel proud. Don't be like a shrinking violet. Just go for it. He said, go out there and put it all on the line. And I hit one of the best tee shots I had. And I was thinking that in my head, I'm just going to show them how good I am and just smash it.
That's fabulous.
But it does... And I hadn't felt first tee nerves for quite a few years.
Yeah.
But that one, just because it was the momentum. And it would be the same if we went to the Masters and we were privileged enough to play Augusta.
Oh, my God.
No doubt. You'd be on the first tee and you'd be bricking it.
Yeah.
100%. Because...
I think more so Ryder Cup, see. I think Masters, of course you'd be nervous in the Masters.
You're paying for other people on you.
I agree.
Yeah, and the Masters, you're thinking, I got 4 rounds, hopefully, or 2 rounds, a lot more shots to go. So I think that you could talk yourself into that. Yeah. Ryder Cup. That one, I'd be
intense.
thinking,
Yeah, that's a tough one. You can see those boys, the way they look on that first tee and their experience, they are shitting themselves.
But the hardest thing I think about it is because it's so loud, much louder than any other golf tournament. You get the occasional ones where Poulter G'd them up and Bubba kept them shouting when they hit the shots, and fine. But you've got all that noise, all that energy, and then it just goes.
Yeah.
Like, and your adrenaline through the roof. How do you deal with that? Like, I just can't comprehend what must be going
I'd have
through
to
their
fart or
mind.
something just to like break the silence.
You know, no problem with that, with those nerves.
I think, though, like my experience in professional sport is the cream comes to the top. I think some players revel in pressure, cameras, audience, whatever. It'd be like you, Rod, going on a stage. You know, I would imagine you find it a lot easier in front of 1,000 people than you would in a comedy club with 25, you know. Yeah, it's the same for sportsmen, I think.
Energy carries you.
Yeah, it does carry a bit of adrenaline, a bit of butterflies. It helps. A bit of focus. You know, talk to someone like Gavin Henson for major goal kicks. You know, if you're in Connaught in a sports ground and the dogs are coming on at 8 o'clock and there's 1,000 people there, no, Millennium Stadium.
Yeah.
You know, 75,000,
Yeah.
and there's something on the kick, he steps up. So there's definitely that, you know. Sorry to pull this back, Rod, but your golf, what are you playing off at the moment?
10.7.
That's, well, God, you've come down.
Bloody hell, mate.
Yeah.
That was when I, you know, before I had this op, so I don't know where I'll be now coming back. But I mean, if I can play to something like, you know, 11 or 12 this season, I'll be chuffed, I think.
Yeah, you can play.
Yeah.
You can be single figure. You can. That my experience of playing with you. What's the work ons, man? What's the work ons?
I think definitely core, build up the core. You know, been for a bit of physio this morning, and just and I could have done with that anyway before having this operation. But I just feel like that if I can strengthen the core and, you know, harness a bit of that core power, then that could stand me in good stead. And I'm just trying not to be so armsy, really, because I think that's one of my biggest. I tend to flip.
Yeah.
You know, if I've got a really bad shot, I tend
you
to get a
just
bit
want
overactive,
more
so a bit more rotation and
body rotation.
Yeah.
Use your body, and like Sean will tell you this. The one we worked on quite hard as Sean got better, he realised that he was hitting a lot of shots from 70, 80 yards because he drove it so far on the par fours, and he used to be lob wedge, full shot up in the air, really difficult to control, and he learned. Keep the hands and arms more passive. So that could be a great drill for you. Is 60, 70 yard shots, start with them, firm everything up, and it just makes you rotate. Hit it with static arms and hands.
Right.
And get your body rotating.
Fabulous.
You know, that builds into that, and I'll keep that armsy one, because when we're nervous, you'll turn away, you'll start coming down, get anxious, your body stops, and your hands just carry on and flip left.
Right. Okay.
And that could give you that bad shot. So that's what I would suggest is shorter shots, body rotation, and keep your arms and hands firmed up.
That could stand me in good stead, because we are on a golf trip in when is it? It's end of May, isn't it?
Yeah, not long.
I'm looking to take the money again.
Oh, right.
Well, actually, the Hollywood Bowl is up for grabs.
Oh, look
It's
out!
the inaugural
Hollywood Bowl. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is going to be a good trip, I think.
So, Rod, a couple of Masters questions. Just a bit of trivia here for you. Let's see how clued up you are then. You ready? Only three. Who has finished runner-up at the Masters the most times without ever winning? Is it A, Greg Norman, B, Chris DeMarco, or C, Paco de Gaming?
I wish Paco was here to answer that. I'd have to go with Greg Norman.
It's B, Chris DeMarco.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, it is.
DeMarco.
It is.
Twice to Tiger Woods, is it? No.
Who played in the most Masters before finally winning it? Was it A, Phil Mickelson, B, Mark O'Meara, or C, Sergio Garcia?
I was waiting for Sergio's name to come out. I'm going with Sergio there.
Good knowledge. It is Sergio. So now this one's to equal Joe Ledley's 2 out of 3. Name the first left-hander to win the Masters. A, Phil Mickelson, B, Mike Weir, C, Bubba Watson.
Well, Bubba was later, wasn't he? So, was Mike Weir or Philly Mick? I'm going with Mike Weir.
Correct.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, I should have had 3 there, because the first one, I'm thinking that's Why would you throw the other name in there?
Yeah.
I
know.
stupid.
Yeah. All right, well, I'll give you a tiebreaker, right? Give you a tiebreaker. Chance to take it. Who has finished runner-up at the Master the most times? I've done that one.
I know that
so
one.
You know that one.
Good tiebreaker question.
Who was the last player outside the top 25 in the world rankings when he won the Masters, right? So is it Charles Schwartzel, B, Danny Willett, C, Tiger Woods?
The last one.
Who was the last player outside of the top 25 in the world ranking when he won the Masters?
Well, Tiger came in off the back of a couple of wins, didn't he? So I'm wondering whether that would actually pop him back into the top 25. And then Danny Willett was before that. But, oh, God. It's Tiger or Willett, isn't it? So it's going to be...
If Joe Ledley can see you now.
Yeah. I'm going to say Tiger.
Correct!
Yes!
Rod Woodward wins the inaugural Great Days Golf
That was a
Podcast
tough
Masters
full
Challenge.
season on
Outside the 25.
Oh, really?
I just said Willett, to be honest.
1997.
Unbelievable.
Wow.
Turned pro in 96. Secured his card in the first 2 events.
That was his first
And
major
it
as a
was
pro.
his first major as a pro.
Phenomenal.
Was it the Valspar he won just before or something?
There was one of them secured his card because
Right.
they were saying, he signed his $30 million contract with Nike. He never played in a pro tournament,
Good God.
and then he secured his card almost straight away.
He won the Disney or something, didn't he?
Oh, it's something like
96?
that. Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
Rod, we got a couple of questions from followers. Yeah, Mike, you got one or two there?
Yeah. So I got one from Gareth Davis.
Gareth Davis. The Gareth Davis.
The Gareth Davis, by all accounts. A question on which would you find most nerve-wracking, really, and that's playing in front of a packed Palladium or on the first tee in front of 20 people.
Done both.
You've
Well,
done
yeah,
both, so
I have
which
done
would you
both.
say is most nerve-wracking?
I would say, in terms of the success rate, I feel much more comfortable at the Palladium. Yeah. It was quite funny, actually, because my old man was still alive when I did the first Royal Variety, and he's obviously, like everybody's dad, been backing him throughout their career. And then when I finally got the call to do that Royal Variety, I said, Dad, we're on. And the specialist said, my dad had terminal cancer at the time. And he said, I wouldn't go if I was you, Carl. And he said, I'm going to be there. And not only did he get there, but he was sort of holding court at the after-show party at about 3 a.m. It was just a magical time. But I remember during the show, they kept putting my spot. I was supposed to be on in the first half, and then they moved it. And then I ended up right at the very end of the show, going on right before One Direction. And, of course, all my family are thinking, where the hell is he? And I texted Debbie, my wife, and said, they've moved me. He's been moved. And it goes down the line to my father, like Chinese whispers. So by the time it gets to him, he thinks he's bottled it. He's bottled it. I can't believe it. He's bottled it.
I'm off my deathbed to come and see this, and he's magic moment.
Yeah.
I mean, why did they move you?
Yeah, I don't know. They were doing this. You never think it could happen on the Raw Variety. You would think everything would be nailed down, and timings and people overrun here and there, and they decide for the good of the show and the recording on the night. And I think a couple of big name acts, their agents were kicking off because they were getting on later and later. So they said, I want my act in, and I was the only one there I hadn't heard of, so they just stuck me right at the very end. But it was great because the audience were up for it still, thankfully, and I really enjoyed that. And as like Sean said earlier, you get carried along by the energy of a big crowd, and I was very lucky. I got to play it 3 times in quick succession, so I did the hat trick there, and it's the best. It is the best stage. They say it's the greatest stage on earth, and it certainly lives up to the billing.
Did it change your career?
Yeah,
Those
I think it
Palladium
did. I
performances?
think it did. Yeah, I mean, it certainly it gives you. It's a good one for the CV. So I ended up with a lot of work off the back of it, and hopefully, I still like to think that the trajectory is on the up and up. There are things I'm working on now, and that wouldn't have been possible had that not happened.
Yeah, you're involved in so much, Rod. You've done a bit of radio presenting of late.
I have,
Radio
yeah.
Wales. Carl Davis texts us in. He asks, what would you rather, stand-up or radio presenting? Interesting.
I've enjoyed the radio thing, and as you know, Sean, I mean, you've done more radio than anyone here, but it's definitely something you've got to learn. You've got to. There are no shortcuts. You've got to put the hours in, and I feel with every bit that I'm doing, it's getting easier. I've been doing the morning show covering Wyn Evans, and just need someone to take a contract out on him now. And if he falls off, I might just be able to step in.
Paco the game in.
Paco the game in, he can get it
9-9
sorted.
to the-
Definitely.
9-9 to the
Paco
head.
the winning.
Paco to win it. He can make someone an offer they can't understand.
He's a character. I wish you could see him, but no. So yeah, well, good luck with that, mate. Anything else on the horizon?
Well, during lockdown, I wrote this screenplay, and I've chatted to you about it for a long time. It's been in the offing for a long, long time, but that's gone into pre-production now. So I'm really hoping that pans out because that'll be.
Any spoilers you'd like to?
Well, embarrassingly for a Welsh guy, it's called 1966, and it's about. Yeah, I know, but it's about.
What could that be about?
What could it be about exactly? But in reality, what happened in '66 was the World Cup, or the Jules Rimet Trophy, as it was then, was on display in London at a stamp exhibition, and it got stolen, and it was missing for an entire week from Sunday to Sunday in March, and it sparked the biggest investigation in the history of Scotland Yard, and the eyes of the world were on the English FA, and everybody was looking for the trophy, the Keystone Cops, in other words, the flying squad, and the FA obviously trying to avoid a massive embarrassment, but you also had this backdrop of the gangsters, the Crays, the Richardsons, all those people. They were looking for it, and then of course, in our story, it's an imagining of what actually happens. In reality, it was found by a dog called Pickles on the Sunday, and he became a bit of a national hero. But in this story, it falls into the hands of a group of 12-year-old kids. And whilst the whole adult world is looking for the trophy, it sort of falls into their hands, and they decide that before handing it back and saving the day, they're going to play a match in the park against the school bullies for the actual World Cup.
That sounds like something we do.
Well,
That sounds like
that's
something
brilliant,
we do.
man. Brilliant.
So it's been cast, and there's a really good director involved now, and so on and so forth. So, yeah, with a bit of luck and a fair wind, this won't be the last you hear of it.
Fantastic, man. Good luck with that. And obviously, good luck with the golf coming up.
Well, looking for tips wherever I can find them. I'm looking forward to playing with you guys through the season, and obviously to many more great days golf.
Yep.